Welcome to the second episode of my show, Borderless. And like I said, Borderless is a show I created to get stories from different parts of the world. And today for my second episode, I have a good friend of mine, Edwina. She's from Namibia. So welcome to the show, Edwina.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me and giving me this opportunity to be here and share my story, share my life,
The pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. I think we met in 2014.
Yeah.
Yes, 2014, and I still have this picture of my head of of you coming through. Yeah, I volunteered to pick up students from the airport. I was a second year student at U.S.A, and you're a freshman. You just came with a bunch of other freshmen. And then I think you were mad or something.
I lost my luggage.
Yeah, I still have that picture in my head. So how were you feeling exactly at that time? You just like walked out of the airport.
So I just got through like baggage claim and I lost my luggage, first of all. And I was so confused, so disoriented, because I'm like, I don't even know who I'm supposed to meet. Is there going to be a sign? And I was thinking of all of those things when you were like, oh, UWC. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. But it was really overwhelming, first of all, because I didn't really know anything about anything.
Yeah.
So you were kind of the light at the end of my tunnel, because you just, But yeah, it was really exciting, definitely exciting because of the new experience, but very overwhelming, my mind was racing because I was trying to get so much into perspective, and these people just told me that they lost my luggage, and now I'm thinking I have one bag of clothing, first of all, that doesn't even really have anything in it. It was wild.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand. I think I've lost my baggage once as well. I think once, yeah. I can't remember when, but I know it came.
Mom told me, ask Michael. When that whole time, remember the first time I actually spoke to you was about my luggage?
Yes.
After the airport?
Yes. Yes.
Because Mom told me, oh, just talk to Michael. Michael knows. and I remember that day so well because you were walking with Daniel, and I'm like, Michael? And you were so shook because you didn't know I knew your name.
Yeah, like she's been on campus for like 2 days or 1 day, and she knows my name. Like how?
So everything led me to you from the very beginning, and it's been like that for the past 5 years.
Yes, it has. So, it actually has.
Yeah.
So you're from Namibia. Can you tell us a bit about Namibia? Like where is it located? The population. If I visit Namibia, what can I do?
So Namibia is located in Southwest Africa, borders South Africa, Angola, Botswana, Zambia. We are a very big country, a country of about 850,000 square kilometers. I might be lying. I might be lying, but I think that's about the estimation. But we have a really small population. As per last year, we were about 2.5 million people in my entire country.
Wow.
So it's very sparsely populated because about 80% of my country is a desert. So a lot of it is not inhabited. But it has really diverse landscape, and which is why there's like a plethora of things to do when you go there. Like you could go quad biking in the desert. We actually have the highest dune in the world. It's called Dune 7. People always go
Dune
there.
7.
I've never been there.
Why is it called Dune 7 though?
I don't know. My family actually just went there in December.
Does it take 7 hours to?
Man, Michael. I actually really don't know. It doesn't look that challenging to climb, but because of the sand, obviously, it's a lot of effort.
Yeah. It's difficult. Sand. Anything
So
with sand is like playing soccer at the beach and all. It's tough.
So you could definitely go we have like a skydiving place. We have like quite a lot of things to do because of like the diverse nature of like our landscape and our animals and plants and all of that. As you travel through the country, the activities that you could take part in change. The north of my country is really populated, so that's where like the game farms are, and you could go like camping, and it's about more like wildlife.
Yeah.
But then there we have a coast. We could go to the aquarium, go to the snake park. We actually have a snake park. A snake park where you like hold snakes. I didn't know people do that.
Wait.
Okay.
You mean a snake park?
A park for snakes where people go. Oh my God. And they hold these snakes and they touch these snakes are supposedly harmless. It's not my scene, but people do that. Those are really touristy stuff. But you should come when I'm there.
I don't like snakes. You see, I'm scared of snakes.
Same.
Honestly, I'm
Same.
scared of snakes. But that's cool. That's cool. Wait, is that the only thing? Like, it's called a snake park?
Yeah, it's actually called a snake park. We could go on boat cruises on the actual ocean, and then on cruises on the river, see crocodiles, regular.
Nice. I mean, I'd love to.
You should visit when I'm there so that I can show you everything.
Yes, I'd love to. You know. So tell me a bit about your life before UWC, you know, and how did you hear about UWC? You know, what was the application process like for you, and how many scholarships were there?
So
how did you end up in Norway, basically?
Yeah, man. I think of it now, and I'm like, it's so wild thinking that it's been 5 years, and I've completely changed as a person since before UWC versus now. I'm one of 4 children. I'm my mom's first daughter, essentially. Second child, first daughter, and I went to this really strict Catholic school, Esmeralda. She's also from Namibia, you know her. She went to RUWC.
Yes.
She also went to that school. We've actually been friends/family for the longest time. And she is the first person I know that applied to UWC. No one in my school or anyone in my general location had ever applied, or based upon my knowledge. And it was like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, you know, because she was the only person that applied in her year, and she got in, and everyone was like, oh my God, wow. And the following year, for my country, you can apply for UWC in 2 years, which is A-level and like the last 2 years of A-level, basically. So I applied in my first year of A-level, and I was 16, going on 17. And there's quite a rigorous like application process. They advertise it in the newspaper, and it's like a regular application. But we had to write like three letters kind of thing. One like based essays? On 3 essays. But then also letters of recommendation from a teacher, from the principal, from a community member. But then from ourselves, we had to write how you're involved in the community, things you've done for the community, why you would like to be in a UWC, and what you feel a UWC could give you and what you could give back. So it was really intense. We were about 500 students that had applied, and only 5 in my year got in. So after that application process, all the applications are sent in, and then there's a shortlist drafted. And the people on the shortlist basically spend a day together and go through an interview process. But we're required to stay the whole day because as people go in and out of the interviews, the rest of us do activities, and we're kind of evaluated to see how we
what kind of activities did you guys do for like the interview, you know? We
did like impromptu theater stuff, you know. They give you like a situation, and they say you have to come up with basically a 3-minute movie skit based upon the situation.
So how long do you have to prepare for this?
Like 5 minutes.
So you get 5 minutes?
Yeah, they keep rotating. Yeah, they keep rotating us in the groups, and it's just kind of to see how you're able to click with different people that you don't know, because none of us know each other.
No,
luckily, I knew one person from my school. She also got into UWC.
Nice.
But they basically rotate us into different groups, and they try and see how easily you adapt. And like, they basically see like leadership skills, because one person is always the more assertive that. So that's what they were trying to decipher.
That's cool.
It was really cool. Actually, I had a blast.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, then we have the interview process, and after the interview process, we were 14. And after the interview process, there were like a week or so passed until they let us know exactly who got in and what UWC you got into. So
nice,
yeah.
nice. So when you got into UWC, what did that feel like? Like you said, the only person you knew who had been to a UWC was Esme. You know, so you didn't know about UWC before that, you know, and now you have this opportunity to leave Namibia, to go outside, to go study. Was that the first time leaving Namibia, and how did it feel exactly when you got the news that, oh yeah, you know, you're going overseas, you have this amazing opportunity to study for 2 years in an international school?
It was, honestly, it was a surreal experience for me, because at first I was really hesitant and I didn't even want to apply. My mom was like, you should apply, and I was rather rebellious. So I was like, no, I won't even get in. I was really pessimistic because at that point in time, during that application, my dad had fallen sick and it was a lot. So I forgot your question.
What did it feel like?
Oh,
what did it feel like,
yes.
You know,
so I didn't expect to get in TWC. That's the truth. And they actually called my mom before calling me. They called my mom to tell my mom I got in. They didn't call me. And so my mom calls me and I'm in the car and I'm like, what?
Did your mom say I told you so?
Yeah. She's like, oh my God, you got into UWC, no way. Like, she was really excited because she was the one that was like, you should do it, you should do it. It was a lot because it was a really big opportunity.
Yeah.
And Dad always used to say, with, you know, how much you're given, a lot more is expected. And it was like, I have so much responsibility now because I need to be this example to my sisters, to my friends, you know, it was a lot.
Exactly.
But I was really happy I got in because I felt like getting into UWC was one of the first movements that I made into recognizing myself. I have an elder brother and he's an overachiever and he's, you know, the perfect son, you know, he's everything. So we always kind of ended up following him, his lead, where he went, we went. But getting into UWC was like my break free, you know, it was like, it was my path. I finally found like what was meant for me. And so I was really, really excited. I didn't know anything about UWC or Norway or anything for that matter. That's why that day at the airport I was like, I don't even know who I'm looking for. But it was so surreal, you know. And I was down for the adventure. I'm a really adventurous and I try to be spontaneous. But I was down for the adventure and I needed a break free kind of, you know, because I knew from the get-go that Namibia I wouldn't want to study in Namibia because everyone is kind of placed in this box. And UWC just gave me an opportunity to branch out from that, you know, and become my own person and define myself as my own person. So I was really excited and really overwhelmed. But I'm so happy, you know, that I got in and that I got the opportunity to do all that.
That's amazing, you know. So was that your first time, like, leaving Namibia?
Yes, it was. I traveled in my country, obviously. I'd never been on a plane. I had just turned 17, and I was so young, you know, that I didn't have any worries. Like, if I was going to be kidnapped, I probably would have gone, you know. But it was so exciting that I had no worries about even leaving or anything. And even though it was my first time, my parents were really worried, obviously. But that was my first time leaving the country. My brother cried so much.
That's sweet.
Yeah, the lady at the airport asked if he was my boyfriend, first of all, and we were like, ma'am, please. But I'm a first generation college student, and it was more like, you know, this is the first time something of this stature is happening in my family. So it was a very big moment for us as a family, but it was also really overwhelming. But then also, like, it's something new in our family. We're opening a new path for
absolutely. And you setting that standard, not just for yourself but for your
my
siblings.
sisters and for everyone and my little cousins.
Absolutely.
So it was very, very, very big for us as a family. And it was a lot of responsibility also, but the excitement superseded everything, I won't lie. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, you should feel excited. It's the same for me, you know. I'm a first generation college student, and you know, I haven't just that UWC opportunity. It was huge for me. That was the first time I left Sierra Leone as well. You know, I mean, the first time I've been on a plane was when I went to Ghana for my visa, and that's my visa to go to Norway.
Yeah.
You know, so it was all this UWC.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking about that today. That about 7-8 years ago, I was actually thinking once I finished school, like college back home in Sierra Leone. Because it was never my intention. Like, I never thought about it. Like, there's this opportunity for me to study overseas. Like, it's possible.
Yeah,
you know?
Same.
Because you know, like, you grew up in some conditions. You're like, I don't think I'll ever be able to make it that far. You know what I mean? So it was never in my mind.
Yeah.
And so, 7-8 years ago, I was thinking, once I finish college, I'm gonna save up some money so I can go see overseas, just at least just for once.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm here. I was actually thinking about this morning, and it's all just you know, insane.
It's a lot. Now we're traveling and we're doing all of these big things that 5-6 years ago you were like, I probably wouldn't. And it actually, I had a friend in high school, and it was always her dream to travel. She was, I guess from the get-go, she's really adventurous. I wasn't, and I was actually planning on how I'm going to go to the engineering campus where my brother was going to school. You know, that was kind of my path. But, you know, God works in such wondrous ways. And he just opened up so much for me and for my family and for so many of us, actually. So yeah, because I think back now, and in my country I'm classified as a colored because I'm mixed race. My mom is white and my dad was from Angola, and so I was this little colored kid who grew up with a bunch of boys. So I was this tomboy girl who played in the streets, you know. I lived basically in the hood part where all the colored stay, you know, and I had friends, you know, who were really smart, but that ended up going into a lot of drugs and really bad stuff. And I just really wanted to not be a part of that circle of people who fell into stuff like that. And I had like little silent prayers, and I feel like God answered those for me, you know, because I got to break not only myself, but my brother. I also grew up with him, and he also grew up in that community, and my little cousin, like, I got to show them like we could do this a different way, and it's just life-changing, honestly, for me. It's such a
that's awesome.
So yeah,
that's awesome. I'm super happy for you. You know, we need stories like this, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this series. You know, just get people to, you know, put their stories out there. You never know who you might inspire, you know, and that's really one of the reasons I'm doing this. And you know, this is my second episode, and I have more people I'm going to be inviting just to like come talk about where they've been, you know, their plans for the future, you know, because it's tough. We come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and you know, people need to hear the stories. People need to get inspired, you know, by the things we've done, by the things we're doing, and all that. But yeah, I'm super happy for you. But yeah, moving forward, when you went to UWC, I mean, we all had this expectation of what UWC was going to be like, you know, in our mind, this fantasy land and everything. Was it up to your expectations? You know, did some things disappoint you? You know?
I always get this question, and I never know how to answer it, because I feel like I was so
excited.
Excited, you know. I was so
you were blind
into the adventure that I didn't really look up the important stuff of what to expect. And I have a lot of friends that going into UWC, they already knew all their co-years, they already were talking to people. I wasn't one of those people. I didn't even try, And I know like the first month or like the month or 2 months before actually going to UWC, people were sending me friend requests, and I'm like, I don't even know these people, but these are people that actually, you know, found me and looked me up. But I wasn't one of those people, you know. So I just went there because I didn't want to create this utopian idea in my mind and then go there and you don't meet that expectation. So I just kind of went there, and I went there with my adventure in mind, you know, and with an open mind, and whatever it was, that's what I would go for. So yeah, it was really it was, now that I look back at it, I can pinpoint and say like, this could have been done better, this could have been done better. But as per every institution, you know, there will be little nifty things that will be like, oh, but this was great. But all in all, UWC definitely met my expectations. I won't lie. We had project-based learning week, and I went kayaking. I'm from the hood part. Who would have thought, you know? And when I post pictures on my Facebook of me kayaking or of me skiing, my family would go wild, you know, because it's like, my idea was I just want to do everything that I can do. I just want to gain so much experience and so many lessons and so much, you know, information, and that when I leave there, I need to make so much of it that when I leave there, I don't leave as the same person. And that's, for me, primarily why I didn't want to look into what it was or create this utopian idea, basically.
Yeah, you see, I was the opposite. You know, I spoke to a lot of people. I was like so excited. They made a Facebook group. They added me. I don't know where added me. Like, how do you find me?
How do you know me?
And I wasn't using my actual name on Facebook back then, and they found me. You know.
What? Please tell me what your name was, so that I die.
So there was this footballer playing for Manchester United, and I love this guy, you know. So I loved him to the fact that I even went on Facebook and changed my name to his name, you know, Babatov. His name was Babatov, and so when they added me to the group, and that was when I realized, oh, like I'm actually international.
Yeah. You're a global citizen. I see that.
You know, I was like, I need to change my name. Yeah. You know, so I had to make a new Facebook, because I tried to change my name, and Facebook was like, you've changed your name so many times. You've changed your name so many times. Yeah, you know, you can't. I was like, no, I can't wait. So I actually made a new Facebook with my name, which I think I'm still using today. Probably. 16. Hopefully. Which I think I'm still using today. You know, but I spoke to a lot of people. I was talking to Pedro. I was talking to a lot of my co-years, just planning on things and everything, you know. So it was nice. But when I went there, a lot of people I was talking to, the relationship didn't continue. You know, for most of them, you know, it was just on. You know, it's different talking online than
versus in person,
face to face. You know, so online it was so good, the rapport was so good. You know, we talked about everything, and then you go there and you see people, but it's just not the same. Yeah. You know, so you kind of like select your crowd from there. You know, and Pedro was one of the people who, you know, like we started talking even before I went there, and when I went there, you know, we just continued. You know, we had similar interests. He played soccer, I played soccer, you know. So it was really, really good.
Okay.
It was good.
I don't actually remember. I don't know if we spoke before. I spoke to Basi. I know Basi
is your co-year.
Yeah, he's my co-year. I spoke to he tried talking to me. I'm just saying.
When you say talking to you,
no, I didn't know him, you know. So I think he was trying to reach out to everyone, and also he saw like I was African. But I was like, first of all, who even is this person? And now he's one of my absolute best friends, and it's just UWC has the power to do stuff like that, and it's just great.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you come from a place, and all of a sudden you have access to people from
everywhere.
Literally all over the world.
Yeah. as like you could go anywhere and you'd have somewhere to stay or someone to host you, or
Exactly.
you know, it's this big network now.
Exactly.
And it's not even just people from our years or the years that were there when we were there. It's everyone.
It's even people like even before UW. No,
Well,
I mean, when UWC started, even before UW. I mean, people who were there when like Daniel and Barbara, for example. You know, like if someone wants to go to Norway, I'm sure they'll. You know what I mean. Like even people who are like way older than us. You know, you want to travel somewhere. Like, hey, I need someone to host me. I'll be in the city from the first to the second, and you have people saying, hey, you can sleep on my couch.
Yeah.
You know, and that's gonna save you a ton of money.
Exactly.
You know, so it's amazing. It's a good network. You know, you never know who you might connect with, you might link up with again in the future. You start a business together, you know what I mean? So it's cool. I'm really glad I made a decision to go to UWC. It definitely changed my life.
Oh yeah.
You know, I get to meet amazing people who've inspired me.
Still now, you know, it doesn't end.
It doesn't.
It doesn't end. Exactly.
It doesn't.
So,
and I'm sure there are like UWC kids literally in almost every school in the US.
Yeah. Surely there is at least a few. Yeah.
So yeah, from UWC, you came here to OU. So what made you choose the University of Oklahoma?
So I didn't really know which university I wanted to go to when we were doing university applications, and somehow everyone in my year knew at least their like optimum choice, and I didn't. But I remember meeting Tony, and Tony really spoke a lot about, for me, it was mostly the program that drew me, and like how well renowned it was, and the community also. Definitely the community. We, as my UWC mentor, asked me in the first year who actually told me about OU, and I just said Michael and Bob. That's all I said. I just said Michael and Bob, and he was like, oh, you know. So it was so much more than just the school. It was, I have the safety net of people, you know, people who have become like family.
Absolutely.
And in contrast to going to a school where I don't know anyone, I really wanted to be knowing that I didn't actually know where I wanted to be. I made it like more of a priority, like the program and also the community, because honestly, if you have support in anything, you can really
you can try,
you can pursue and move anything. And that was it for me. And a lot of my friends, my best friends, people who I've become really close to are here. We're not like UWC best friends anymore, you know, but still we're like a family. There's that bond that will never go away.
Exactly.
So it was that. It was scholarship. It was the opportunity, man, to just, I didn't know anything about Oklahoma. I knew very stereotypical things about Oklahoma, because, you know, it's down south kind of thing. So but it actually completely, a lot of it did meet like that stereotype, but so much of it contradicted it and showed me like a new experience. And a lot of people actually told me that you'll know that this is the university you want to be at. You'll just know. And like freshman year, I met you the first day I got here again, you know, and freshman year started, fall semester, and it just felt right. I just fit in, you know, and I found myself kind of thing in like where I belonged here at OU. And it's still a process even now, you know, because I just changed my major from civil engineering to construction science, and now it's like I can confidently tell you that I've found my little space, you know, because I feel like that change just put so much in perspective for me. And these are things, I made that change based on so much that I've learned about myself in these 5 years, and it just felt right, you know. And 5 years later, you know, I've changed my path of study. I've always said I wanted to be a civil engineer, and that's what I started with. But now I found something that's more in the avenue of a lot of things that I like, you know. And now I just fit, and I'm so happy.
That's amazing. You know, I think one of the most difficult things in college is actually finding something you enjoy doing, something you love doing. And I feel like people who come to college and like, oh, I wanna do this thing, and they stick with it. Yeah. They are like so blessed. They are like so lucky. You know, because I've changed my major as well. I started off with international business and finance. I came, I'm gonna double major, you know, straight up, I'm gonna double major. And then they told me I have to take Spanish.
Okay.
I was like, okay. Well, I did Spanish, GWC, so I was like, yeah, this is cool. So I did 2 semesters of Spanish. And then they told me, if you're gonna double major, you might need more than 4 years to finish. I'm like, I can't do that, you know, like I need to finish in 4, you know. So I did a major and a minor, accounting and finance, and then I think it was finance major, accounting minor, and then at some point
it became the other way around.
Yeah, accounting major, finance minor, and then I think last semester I took this class where the first exam I had a 15% in my first exam, and I was a B in the class.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
1.5.
1.5.
Wow.
1.5 was a B in the class.
What was the curve then? I really would like to know.
Same. You know, so I was like, you know, I can't be this stressed.
Yeah.
And then I went to see my advisor, and I was like, how many classes do I have left? And she was like, just 4 classes, and you're done. And I'm like, what classes? 2 accounting classes, 2 finance classes, and then my capstone. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot if for your last semester in college. Like you need to pass all. I mean, and I work too.
Exactly.
I have an internship. You know, so I was like, So I actually had to weigh my options, and I had to drop my finance minor. You know, and honestly, that's the best decision I've made. Yeah. Because now I have a dance class. I have a dance class. I have a music class. I have my capstone, and I have my 2 accounting classes, and it's going well for me.
That's good.
You know, and I have my internship.
It's a balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, if I had time, I definitely would be able to do
those finance classes.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I volunteer for 2 NGOs. You know, my internship, I go to school for 15 hours. I work for 9 hours a week. I need time to sleep.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. You know, so I had to make that decision, and now, I mean, it's going fine. I'm happy. You know, with the choice I made, with decisions I made. And yeah, everything is going smooth so far, and I'm super happy as well. So I definitely feel you being happy, adjusting your majors and everything, you know, to fit what you want to do, fit what you want, what you like. You know, it's important. It's important. You're a junior now. Yeah, you're a junior now, so it's cool. I think I made my last changes, well, apart from my minor, which I dropped last semester. I changed in my sophomore year from international business to accounting, and the good thing is it's in the same school. It's in
the same college,
yeah, it's in the same school, so it wasn't a big deal at all. It wasn't a big deal. It's tough. It's tough.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. But I feel like once you find that perfect fit, you know, because construction science actually wasn't a major at OU when we started, but I only like actually started paying attention to like how artsy I am and how my creative side basically after I came here, and I became a part of IAC, and now I'm on the exec, and I'm their special events coordinator. So I deal with a lot of that. I work in College of International Studies, also basically planning events all the time, you know. So that's really who I am, you know. I'm a very bright and bubbly person, and I felt like civil engineering just kind of put me in this box that I couldn't maneuver so much. But then construction science became a major, if not at the beginning of this academic year, it was at the end of like spring last semester, last year. But you know, I feel like I found my path kind of because I met this woman, her name's Grace. this woman is me when I'm 35. You know, essentially, she's been helping me so much with, she's a grad student in construction science, and she's been helping me so much. She's showed me all the places, the library where the cool spots are to study, you know, like quiet, like
awesome.
she's introduced me to different people, you know, to make it easier for me to transition. And it's just been so much, you know, so it's been so much, but so exciting also, because I feel like, oh my God, like I am finally going somewhere, and I can finally see where I want to be and what I want to do. And having this person embody so much of my characteristics, you know, and be so successful doing this program gives me so much hope and so much excitement and zeal for it. And so I'm so stoked, and I'm just so ready, you know, to just be the best I can be at this. My family obviously had some reservations, you know, but in the end, they don't really understand the transitions I've been going through in the past 5 years, you know, and also ultimately I need to know what is best for me, kind of thing. My parents have kind of they're getting used to the idea now, and I just feel like as soon as they see how happy I am, they'll be okay with that, you know.
With time, absolutely.
Exactly. And so it's been a really rough journey, but it's been so worth it, because I've met such amazing people who are so willing to help. I've gotten help from associate deans, people who, you know, people of stature that didn't need to help me, but helped me just because they knew who I was. And it's just opened so many doors for me, and it's just given me so much more than I could have asked for, honestly. So I'm really, really, really happy.
I'm so glad you're in a better place now, honestly. You know, I'm so glad you've decided to stick with what makes you happy, you know, to choose something that you enjoy doing, you know, because you are your own person. You know, and for me, that's one thing I've always had, the independence to choose what I want to do. Like my family has never ever intervened. Somehow they've just left me to decide what I want to do. Like they've when I say never, they don't even know my GPA. Honestly, they don't. Even if I tell them I was doing music, they wouldn't know. Like they don't know just anything. You know, I've always been the one to decide what major I want to do, where I want to be, you know, and it kind of like gives you that sense of responsibility first of all, you know, which I've always, you know, and it's something you learn at a young age, you know, because you definitely don't grow up all of a sudden and you change in one day. You know, it's all those things you learn when you're young that accumulates, you know. But I'm super happy for you, you know, honestly. That's a good thing, you know, to just do something you love, do something you enjoy. And it looks like you had a lot on your plate back then. I felt like I wasn't really being true to myself, and it was more like, honestly, I felt like that pursuing civil engineering was more for my family than it was for me. And that's great, you know, and I know a lot of people do that, you know, wanting to make the family proud, and a lot of people succeed in doing that, but I ended up getting severe anxiety. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and it just being in I'm a really creative person, so my mind works like a popcorn machine, you know, like I just get different ideas and I just want to do everything, and you know, I want to take on everything and do new things. But being an engineering major put me in this box, and I couldn't move, you know, and it made me really, really anxious, and to a point where like I had to essentially choose. It's either this or me, you know, and I felt like and this is why I feel like I continued pursuing civil engineering, because I felt like being a civil engineer was me, but it wasn't a part of my identity. And my parents got with the program as soon as they realized, you know, it took a lot talking to them and standing up to them, and because they're also stereotypical African parents, you know, that if it's not engineering or medicine, it's not it, you know. It doesn't work.
So it did also take a lot to talk to them. But, you know, I've had such amazing people supporting me through this transition and all of this, that I don't feel like, I feel the support, and I don't feel alone anymore. I don't feel like I'm doing this alone, because, and this is just God. I just keep coming back to the fact that this is God, and that I was meant to be in this position, because somehow everything has just fallen into place. Every time I needed someone or I needed something, it was there. And
absolutely. I'm so happy for you, honestly.
You were actually one of the biggest parts in this. This. We've had a lot of moments, crying over this and going for ice cream and having a lot of talks. And man, yeah, it's real. I do. You're a very, very, very big inspiration, and not only to myself, but to a lot of people that come after us. And I know this because I hear people talk, and I talk to everyone also. And you're doing so much, and so you make me want to be better and do better, because I see people like you that have passion for what they're doing, and that's what drove me, because I talk to so many people that are in their majors and that are so excited, their faces literally light up, and that's me now. That wasn't me before.
That's amazing.
And I just wanted to get to that place where I'm as happy as other people about.
Absolutely.
Because people are like, oh, school sucks, but if you're doing what you're doing and you love it, it's easier. It's so much easier. And you've helped me a lot. Our talks, our ice cream runs, most importantly, and just the chills. The words of wisdom, the podcasts you send me. It's a lot. You've actually affected so much in my life. And I keep saying, like, every place I go to, everything leads me to you. You're the first person I meet in every instance, in every situation. And that's how I know that I was meant to be here. I was meant to be in this space, in this time, because God knew I would have you, kind of thing. And other people who I've met here and who have been so much help. So
absolutely.
It's been a blast. It's been exciting. It's been a roller coaster.
It's all mine. It's all mine. You're an amazing person, and you deserve to be happy. You deserve all the love, all the support. So I've been happy to help out whenever, honestly. But moving forward, what would you say? You've been out of Namibia for 5-6 years now. What would you say has been the biggest? What are some of the biggest challenges you faced? Just you being independent, away from your mom, your dad, your family, and just Norway, and then the U.S. What has been what has been some of the most difficult?
So wow. So before I left Namibia, my dad actually passed away. And
I'm so sorry.
That in itself was really challenging, because 3 months after he passed, I had to leave. And so I didn't really get that opportunity to be with my family and to grieve with my family, And so I was just displaced, and basically I was pushed in at the deep end of the pool and told to swim, kind of thing. And at first I was really resentful about that, because I'm like, this is not what I wanted. First of all, it's not even what I wanted, But then I see how far I've come and how much I've done, just, as much as my parents still see me as a child, I've now lived on my own for 5+ years. And I've had to learn how to be my own person, how to be my own adult.
Exactly.
So the challenge is really just finding the people who really have your best interests at heart and that are willing to drive and push you to meet that. In these years, I've made a lot of friends, but I've also lost a lot of friends, and it's the learning process. You have to be so open-minded to just take all of these experiences without taking it personal, kind of thing, because some of the experiences we have abroad are really emotional, and this for me being the passing of my dad, and then going to UWC, I didn't know anyone. I actually felt for the first few months I didn't feel like I fit into UWC, into the African scene, because everyone kind of found their group of people, but I was like the odd one, the straggler.
Like, where do I fit?
Yeah, I didn't really know where I fit. It took me, I mean, I knew you and I knew individual people, but it took me a while to get into being friends and going to places.
Like find your
yeah, exactly.
And, find the people you roll with.
It took me. I watched Teen Wolf for the longest time in my room. I only went for dinner with my roommates. I was really close because I was like, I don't really fit in, and everyone just resonated to their groups of people. So that personally was one of my biggest challenges, and it was a challenge for me because I'm such a loud and big personality person, that I was so shook, going and I don't fit in anywhere and I'm so different from everyone, and that was the culture shock, and that was the trying to find my clan kind of thing. And when finally I did, and I felt like, I found my place and whatever, we had to displace again, and that's the biggest challenge with, I guess, any experience we have is just the change, the displacement, having to start afresh. And as adventurous as I am, I'm very methodical and very meticulous with my planning, with my thoughts. And so change is not my best friend, so having to move and having to find a new group of people and meet new people, and it's really exciting, but when you get older, it gets tiring and it's tough. And
just living your comfort zone it's exciting.
So definitely one of the biggest challenges I've had was having to move so much and to change so much. But every change I made a difference in my life, in who I am.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I look back now and I'm so grateful now, but in the moment I'm like, oh, but this is so painful and I don't want to have to do this. But I look back now and I'm like, oh my God, when I was 17, I wouldn't have known that this is the result. And
the experiences you accumulate, it's just so amazing.
So definitely I had a lot of challenges moving and being apart from my family and meeting people. I wouldn't have thought I'd have problems meeting people, but I did. Connecting with people, basically finding my footing in every place I've gone to has been really challenging because each place is unique in itself. And so, yeah,
that's amazing. I'm glad you found a way to, just counter these challenges. Because sometimes a lot of people go through stuff and are like, the problem is here, I give up. But in life you always have to just keep on moving. Sometimes it's tough, just waking up, going to school. That's the only thing we know in our lives. That's the only thing we've been doing in our lives. Since you were like 3 or 4, you've been going to school every single day. That's the only thing we know how to do. At some point you get tired, you ask questions, why am I doing this, why am I waking up going to school? And some people are like, I don't have time for this anymore. So a lot of people, and that's why people feel so excited, when they finish, because boy,
but then
it's a lot.
Being so idle after, for some people, I know it's being being idle is a lot. Also, not having a plan or anything to do. So.
No, absolutely.
Do you know, first of all, what you're doing after college? You have 2 months. I'm actually buzzing for your graduation. You don't even know.
I know, same. I can't wait. After college, I'm still thinking. I'm still looking for jobs and everything. But hopefully, I'm confident I'll get something. For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just time. I'm just waiting, but hopefully, I'll get a job, and then maybe 1 or 2 years I'll go ahead and do my master's.
Okay.
That's the plan. That's the plan. So yes, I'm excited.
I'm excited for that for you.
So you said you're from the the hood part of Namibia and all. I'm sure there are lots of kids there still who can't escape this just that problem of dreaming big or leaving that box in which they confided in. What message do you have for people who not just in Namibia but all over the world who think I can make it out of this place, I don't believe in myself, or I don't think this is possible?
Honestly, I've learned that you will not be able to achieve anything if you stay in the same place. And you need to try and change up that scenery, you know. And I didn't think at all I would even be here. You know, I was this little noisy kid in class that always, my teachers didn't know where to seat me because I spoke to everyone. I was that kid. But I also didn't think I would come here, you know, but it's just, all of us have such infinite potential inside of us, you know. And if you just push and do everything in your power to stand out. We were all made to stand out, but so many times we try to fit in because of our friends, because of people, because of institutions, you know. I knew for a fact that I wouldn't fit into the University of Namibia, you know. And even now I'm like, I wouldn't, but we were made to stand out, and we just need to harness our inner potential, you know. And it's so easy to say, I know that, like, it's so easy to say, but some of these opportunities we're given, we don't take them, or we overlook them because they're insignificant or because they're not what we want. UWC wasn't what I wanted, you know, but we all have a bigger plan for our life, you know, and it's just push, you know, push forward, press on. Sometimes it's really difficult, but that doesn't mean that's the end, you know. I thought it was the end of my life when my dad passed away, you know, and I thought it was the end of my life when I couldn't make friends in UWC, you know. But these were all difficult experiences, but that I pushed, you know, because change is not easy, but you need to give into the change to move. And honestly, just look inside yourself and see how much potential you have. Why are you smiling at me? And see how much potential you have, and just, you know, if you want it, if you set your mind to it, you can hardwire your mind to do anything and take you anywhere if you really want it.
Absolutely. So, you know, I mean, I'm inspired right now. Yeah. You know, but yeah, I definitely do agree, you know, and people need to hear these things. People need to hear the struggles. You know, it's not easy.
It's not.
You know, you see people out there, you know, lavishing money and, you know, spending a lot of money, and you think they just had it, you know, in one night.
Yeah, but it's
tough.
Yeah.
You know, it's a process.
It's a process.
You know, I absolutely agree with everything you've said, and I really do appreciate you being on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
No problem. No problem.